Quincy, salam kenal. Nice to meet you. Okay, hello. Nice to meet you. Look at us. Wow. Very colorful and also one tone. Okay, before we begin, perhaps each of you can introduce yourself briefly, starting from Krishna.
Absolutely. So my name is Krishna. I'm the founder of Dulang, and we are Tukang Lock Digital, i.e., we enable circularity in electronics by trying to promote reuse as well as repair of electronics, mainly for companies. Thanks.
All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Shiki. I previously collaborate with EU and ASEAN from the Youth Sustainability Project. So the main project is in the circular economy sector. Yeah, and now I'm a sustainable practitioner. Happy to talk to you.
Likewise.
Okay. Hi everyone. Hi. My name is Andi Bahari. People usually call me by Abe.
Okay.
I'm the national leader of World Cleanup Day Indonesia, and we are the largest cleanup movement in the world. Not
Ooh.
only in Indonesia, but we have in 198 countries around the world. So almost
Wow,
all
okay.
countries have World Cleanup Day.
Mhm.
So yeah, same. Also, we have been partnering with EU ASEAN for several years already, doing sustainable activities together. Such as today, there's almost 500 people doing plugging. So
Yep.
they doing a little small workout and then doing picking up trash as well, and they just finished.
Small workout for them, big for me. Okay, I'm gonna start with Mas Krishna. When we hear the word circular economy, most people would probably imagine the ever famous recycling symbol. But circular economy is much more than that, and I'm sure you agree. So, can you please give us an easy and concise explanation of what circular economy is?
Yeah, I think the concept is basically applying biomimicry, whereby we try to mimic nature in a sense that there actually, is no waste in nature, right? Something that is considered as a byproduct of something, i.e., in this case, consumption, could actually be a resource for further production, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to extend the life use of a product, right, for as long as possible, right, and have like a regenerative process whereby any sort of excess of that or byproduct could be used in further production.
So, it's not just about reduce, reuse, and recycle, right?
Yes, yes. I think the 3R is something that I personally grew up with. I think it was so famous in the 80s and 90s. I think now we have the 9 or 10 R's, if you will. But personally, I do not think that we should stick with all of these jargons. I think in Asia particularly, right, we are already practicing circularity, traditionally speaking, right? If you notice things like the packaging of food using like banana leaves,
Yeah.
I mean, that's been
And the
going on.
straws. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that you eat with your hands, whatnot, right? So what I'm trying to say is that rather than fixated on like this contemporary Western jargons, right? The essence is that, hey, you know what? There's climate change, there's biodiversity crisis, right? We need to get our acts together and remember the old ways whereby it's just wise, right, to reuse stuff, right, to not ever produce some things, right, and to think about how we consume things, right, and also try as much as possible as not producing waste at all, right? Because as much as we like to think that we can recycle every single thing on Earth, and I think that's also the problem, right? There's recycling first approach on everything. Oh, you can always repurpose, remake something. That's actually not true. There's actually a limit to the ever recycling nature of things. So I think we should do more on the just using a simple 3R, the reduce and reuse.
Using the simple 3R. All right. Mas Andi, you've been working with many stakeholders to promote this issue in Indonesia. So, how do you see the current mindset and has it shifted in recent years?
Um, so I've been running World Cleanup Day for this is entering the okay, 2025 will be the 8th year, but maybe I will say the SIF have already slightly started even before I jump into World Cleanup Day, because I think I studied in US like 15 years ago, and then I came back and then witnessed another culture shock. Definitely,
Of
like
course, yeah.
such a huge, drastic. Like I lived in Europe before, and then lived in Japan before, and also in US before, and then like suddenly came back to Indonesia. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
trash everywhere, garbage everywhere. But that was 15 years ago. And then when I started World Cleanup Day, like I can feel I'm like one of the crazy people. Like
In a good way.
in a good way. By that times, there are not so many communities that doing, you know, picking up garbage.
Yeah.
That's also way before Pandawara. So
Oh.
people like, what are you doing? You know. So that's when we started. But I can long short story. So let's jump back to comparing when I started before 15 minutes ago, and then I started working up day, and then now. I definitely see a huge difference. Especially, I'm not saying all,
Yep.
but in pentahelix stakeholders, such as government, maybe if you say 10 years ago, they don't even have funds or like pasukan oranye, you know, like those kind of things not
Yeah.
exist, you know. And we can see they pay more attentions, more about that. But also another stakeholder such as corporates.
Yeah.
Before there's no sustainability products, there's no eco-friendly products even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But the past 5 years, we can see that, I mean, some of them doing greenwashing, but well, we can start seeing they know there's a market
Yeah.
in it. So that's why they start shifting their products to be more eco-friendly. And then media and public figures as well, they start talking about environmental issues definitely. And also communities, especially like eco-friendly communities or like cleanup communities or like zero waste communities or like planting trees, mangrove, whatever communities. It start popping up in the
Yeah.
past 5 years, and we can see the growth has been exponential definitely. But I think the last stakeholders, which I think a little bit sad, is education institutions.
Okay.
I think that stakeholders is the slowest progress that I witnessed. That's why today I bring around 200 students to
Oh,
do
okay.
plugins
Yeah.
with us today, because a lot of them don't really involve them. So that's why in the future, I think if we want to progressive, much faster when we're talking about sustainability, saving the world,
Yep.
they are the future,
Yeah.
right? And they're the one who leading the world. So I think Indonesia have to, take one step up ahead, like learning from other countries such as Japan. Before they learning, from my educations, the first thing that they need to learn is, taking care of themselves, taking care of the surroundings. Like they picking up garbage, and then they can sort their own garbage. Even they being trained since really young, and we don't have that kind of practice in
Yeah.
Indonesia. So that's why it's really hard. And I'm part of the education. When I was young, I'm throwing garbage.
Okay.
I admit it. But as time goes by, I learned it hard way that we couldn't treat our planet that way. So I think, we need to pay more attention in education, institutions, educations, but the rest is quite okay. Yeah.
Because they are the roots, right?
Yeah.
We need to start.
They're the
from-
future.
Yeah, they're the future as well. So that's amazing answer, by the way. Thank you so much. So are the 200 students here?
They're sitting there, some of them on the booth, some of them sitting here.
Okay. Hello to every one of you. Thank you for joining. So, Mbak Conchika, what's your nickname, by the way?
Shiki.
Shiki.
Yes.
May I call you that?
Yeah, sure.
Kashiki. Okay. So, one of the key determining factors for our modern society right now is convenience, right? Kashiki, can you share your experience in integrating the element of convenience in encouraging people to better manage their waste?
Okay, thank you for the questions. So as you know, everybody have their own cultures and unique challenges in terms of waste management, right? And then we just need to go back to what is like our daily activities in terms of aligning that with how you can contribute to managing waste in a proper way. For example, you might not have a color-coded bins in your house, and if you wanted to buy another one, I think it's just overconsumption. So perhaps you can start with just, bring any container that you have at your home and start to segregate your waste. You can start with segregating the wet waste and the dry waste. So the wet waste is majorly the organic waste.
Okay.
And by doing so, you're actually helping the waste workers to effectively, do the segregation before the waste being processed into the next step. That's
Okay.
first. I mean, if you're a beginner in doing this waste management kind of things, you can do that. And now, luckily, with all this like tech savvy kind of like population that is rising and lots of initiatives, for example, like Dulang, and then what the World Cleanup Days always do, like lots of initiatives that you can actually choose. Try to download an application that support the waste management, like kind of activities. So you can do that. First thing, it's very handy. You can, like just download the application
Yep.
and then click and tick here and there and then wait for them to pick your garbage from your home. And then second of all, you get the incentives, which is
Ooh,
a bonus and a good thing.
Okay.
Yes. And then I believe that our government have their own effort in terms of doing the waste management itself, where they have the waste banks in like almost all neighborhoods, I suppose, even though I think you guys can actually relate that not all the waste bank actually works efficiently and like 100%, like maximized. But I think you can start with that. You can store your waste to your closest or nearest waste bank, and that's how you will do that.
Okay.
Even though actually, today's event is about green, right? And I witnessed some of you still like use the single-use plastic. Well, it's already bought anyway, but just like don't litter, because I just saw, perhaps one of you forgot to litter like your own trash. So I think it's better to segregate it. And then if you wanted to reach out to other organizations that have like the focus on the waste management, that should be better as well. Because I think, like segregating waste is one of the easiest and the most convenient way on how you can contribute to lower the effect of climate change.
Yeah.
There is a new recent studies and information that perhaps lots of sustainability practitioners already witness is that the trees are no longer able to absorb all the carbon dioxide that is being produced by the human, because the reforestation is not actually go hand in hand with all the destruction that the human being already created, which is a bad thing. So, like start at your place, segregate your waste, and then help the waste workers to do that. So I think that'll be one of the most convenient things that you can do. Start from your home.
Baby step.
Yes, baby step.
Do you have anything to add, Kak Andy?
Yeah, I was laughing because my answer may be a little bit slightly funny, but stop making so many babies.
Yeah, true. Think twice.
Too many human on this planet, and we become like a virus for Mother Earth. It's because the planet itself have its own capacity to keep itself like sustainable, and then when it's too much, the humans on the planet start extracting and exploit all the resources, and that's become what we are today. And the earth become really in a bad shape,
Yeah.
and that's because of us. But I mean, not by saying you not having baby, but
Yeah.
maybe keep it into two program
Yeah,
KB.
program KB tetap.
And also, I think I want to add, I agree with Kak Chiki. Kak Chiki, yeah, definitely we can start, doing this kind of stuff. We don't have to necessarily, going to like river that already polluted. I mean, if you want to go, definitely great. But definitely, I agree. We can start at home. Who's bring tumbler today? Siapa yang bawa tumbler hari ini? Coba angkat tangan.
Angkat
Angkat
dong.
tumblernya.
Raise your tumbler, guys.
Tepuk tangan.
Kudos to all of you.
So, tepuk tangan untuk teman-teman semua. That's how you start taking care of the planet. Because, you know, when we bring in our own tumbler and then we bring our own bontot, the food container,
Yeah.
we bring tote bag, you know, we bring our own utensils. So basically, why the earth becomes such a bad state? Because we produce so many things in mass productions that we already have in our home,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Like garpu, sendok, you know, like fork, spoon. We already have that. Straw. We
Yeah.
already have that at home. But we are too lazy to bring it. And then we like, kan gratis. It's
Yeah.
free. And then we just take it. And can you imagine one day like we take like 5 straw, 2 spoon, you know,
Yeah.
calculate that by all of us. Like how many we have to, you know, produce that much of waste.
Mhm.
And also now is a day of consumerism, right?
Yeah.
Trend. Racun TikTok, ya kan? Yang warna oranye, yang warna hijau. I'm not going to say the brand name, but
Yeah.
whenever there's things that go viral, such as Labubu,
That's too expensive for a tiny doll, to be honest.
Yes. So let's just use the real labu.
well, just use the real, yeah.
Vegetable.
I mean, those kind of things is make us really consumptive. We spend so much money, and it's not really helping the earth anyway. And those kind of things may be just trending for like 1 month, and then the next month, it's not trending anymore. So
Exactly.
if you wanna, you know, buy something, make sure it's something that can last really long time.
Yes.
Not only like trending, like, you know, 1 month and then the next month is go to the next one and then you switch again and you have to buy another stuff. You spend so much money, and then the factory have to keep up with the new trend.
Yeah.
And I think that's how the world function, and it's so not sustainable anymore. So we can start from ourselves. I've been keeping like a really small wardrobe, even though I really like fashion, like such as this.
Oh,
if you pay
okay.
attention, this is made from an aluminum bottle
Really?
cap.
Can I touch it?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. Oh,
Ini dari
okay.
ini kaleng,
Kaleng ini ya, minuman.
ya minuman punya tab. So,
okay.
you know, if you like fashion stuff, I mean, you can do thrifting,
Yeah.
buy second hand, or maybe,
Make your own.
you know what? If you have clothes today, don't throw it away. It'll be trending again 30 years. Trust me. Like
Iya
the
lagi,
things,
bener.
the things that I have in 90s, or like, I mean, I'm millennials, right?
Yeah.
I have the things that I have in 80s and 90s. Now it's going back to trend again.
Yes.
I'm so glad I didn't throw it away, so I can, you know, go back to trend again. So yeah, don't switch too fast. Just keep it. If it's still wearable, keep it. It always come back again sooner or later. Yeah, that's all for me.
Thank you, Kak Andy. Mas Krishna, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think all of the points mentioned are really good. I'd like just to iterate that I do think like a bottoms-up approach wouldn't be sufficient, because a lot of these, right, would not create like a very substantial, meaningful impact actually, especially when they're sort of in siloed and very segregated, right? I think if you look at it from a theoretical perspective, what happened is that you're not internalizing the real cost of a lot of products that are being produced, i.e. the end-of-life handling, right? i.e. The pollution costs to the environment, to the waters, to the soil, right? As well as educating people to have a paradigm shift. I can still remember when I was growing up, we don't have as prevalent as it now, single-use plastic, right? Where when you want to drink Coca-Cola, you drink it from like a glass bottle,
Yeah.
right? And also, if you want to drink water, you drink water from the jar. You know what I'm saying? You don't drink it from aqua single-use plastic. So in a way, there weren't anyone telling us that we should shift to the use of single-use plastic. Same like I do not think there should be anyone telling us to do the same thing to reverse back. At the end of the day, it's all caused by this planned obsolescence, what I would like to term as hyperchuanism, right? Like this unsustainable way of capitalism, essentially, right? Where there's the ever need to produce and consume stuff, right? And the only way that could be sort of like managed is if there's like better regulation that requires better design. And for instance, in the case of electronics, what's happening now in Europe, right, with the Eco Label, Eco Design Act, is for instance, right, there's like a label requirement in terms of the repairability of an item. Do you think that when you want to buy an item? And that is one of the main causes of e-waste, actually, right? Because if you go to the Orange platform, right, to buy like this mini fan, whatever, right, whatever the right term TikTok is on the day, right, it would only last like one time, or you know, only 2 times, and then you just discard it. It's just ending up in your wardrobe, right? And as much as I like to be here speaking with all of you on a Sunday, enjoying the warm weather, right, I do not think it's going to create enough ripple effect, right? At the end of the day, it's all about having guardrails, having regulation by design, because there are different modalities of regulation, right? One of them is law, one of them is design, for instance, and not just market. Because what we're talking here is grassroots intervention, i.e. trying to counter in the market to create a different demand, right? That would shift producers' behavior. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think the reason why producers are concerned about plastic is because there's an EPR, extended producer responsibility. Right? It's not just because we're shouting on social media. I mean, like, I do believe that the consumers have the power in terms of voting every day and buying stuff, right? But it does require a greater effort. And I do think that requires money. And I do not think that we have enough capital to counter like these large corporations, okay? So yes, I would like to induce consumer behavior to change, to embrace reduce, reuse, but the fact of the matter is not enough. I do think that there's merit to actually implement better laws and regulation, and by design, prevent things to be wasteful. Okay, so if you know a nation cannot sort their waste, and it's not going to happen because people are just lazy, and then just limit single-use items, or just make it super expensive because you internalize all the costs, and that is by way of design. So that's my take, and that is particularly true in electronics. Reverse logistic is complicated, it's expensive, unless there's a regulation that requires some sort of EPR that enables reverse logistic. It's not going to happen. No one's going to care. And next thing you know, it's going to be like the next Bantar Gebang, but electronics. So something like Blade Runner is going to happen. I don't know if you guys watch sci-fi, right? But there could be this dystopia happening where, especially, did you know that data centers actually absorb a lot of resource like water, electricity, and there's like a rising demand for it, given AI, for instance, given blockchain. Next thing you know, similarity is going to happen, and we're going to live in a Mad Max kind of environment, and everything is just electronic. There's nothing organic. So it's a real threat. It's a real threat.
I would like to second that.
Sure.
So I think earlier you mentioned about the pentahelix approach, right? So I really agree that what we're doing is more into like the grassroots, the bottoms up. But it turns out that other actors actually play a crucial role based on their own function. And that is indeed, essential as well.
Okay.
I mean, if we're not having, a sufficient regulation in terms of how we're going to upgrade this kind of like waste management, let people to do actions and allow them to contribute in reducing the climate change effect, we're not going to be able to do that. Second of all, media is very crucial as well, to shape the information, to share the information, to show how alarming it is, the effect of climate change and how it's going to impact, each of the individual living in this earth.
Yeah.
Perhaps some of my friends might wanted to think that I don't think that climate change is is real, or like I don't really have the effect. Okay, but good luck to you, and like thanks to your parents because you're privileged enough not to feel that.
Yeah.
But money cannot produce oxygen, and we still need trees. Literally.
Yeah.
Like if you're that rich, I mean, is there like planet B? No, you're not going to fly to Mars,
Nah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think for me, like better think about that. And there are lots of initiatives, for example, how to make the entrepreneurs doing business as a force for good,
Okay.
right? And but still, things like that is still like a luxurious things for the entrepreneur. The reason being is that the certification is quite expensive. Like, have you heard about like the B Corp certification?
Yes.
Yes, and that movement needs capital as well. But at least, how to say, yeah, at least that we can actually move by, you know, our own motivations of how we wanted to live in a livable earth. So I
Yeah.
think the pentahelix approach is indeed very important. And if like some of you here have the position, you know, to create such a policy, whether it's in your working environment or something like that, it doesn't have to be like a high political something. Perhaps you wanted to contribute on, you know, saving the environment because it's for you. It's for your daughter, for your family, and for the future generations.
Yes. 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 Agree. You have something to add, or
Actually, how we say, you know, we each one have to take care of the planet is actually I go back to Mas Krishna. It's because I think Indonesia have a lot of regulations, even in nationals, in the local, the province level. But the problem that we have, we're such a big countries, and every what is it called? Kepala daerah.
the
Yeah, the governor, like
The
the local
governor.
governor, or like you know the mayor, or you know the
Regional,
the,
yes.
the local governor
Yeah.
governments. They only have their own agenda. You know, not all of them care about environment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to be on the same page, to be honest. So that's why our law enforcement cannot be, you know, really even out. You know, sometimes only this one place is very, you know, conscious and very, you know, they really do about sustainability a lot, and then the other place no. But because the problem is that we are again developing countries, right? Maybe some
Yeah.
area they have more urgent issues. Maybe, you know, they don't have enough water, they don't have enough school. So, you know, environment become like the several, you know, not the priority for them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the thing is, yeah, we can talk this for like 2 hours. It can go really long. But by all meaning, just, yeah, each of us, and definitely all stakeholders, have to challenge each of the stakeholders, you know, to be on the same page. Because a lot of times, we not moving on the same page. That's why it's really hard. Some people, you know, moving 2 steps ahead, and then there's, you know, one stakeholders like 2 steps behind, and
Yeah.
that's how like they cannot, you know, keep up with everything.
Yeah. Again and again, it's because of the education background is
Yes.
various, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mas Krishna, regionally we just had the ASEAN Circular Economy Forum in Bangkok. Can you share to us a little bit about the event?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to also add a little bit more
Sure.
about that, because I think this is a really important point.
Yeah.
And I think this is like a good segue before the Bangkok sort of like recap, right?
Okay.
So we are doing an EU event, is it? Like an EU Green Diplomacy Week with
Yes.
ASEAN. So what are you guys trying to do, right? This is sort of diplomacy. You're trying to strengthen the partnership between EU, ASEAN, and you're trying to export ideas, right? So if you look into the benchmarks of nations in EU, right, we can see that there are the welfare state model. Right? It doesn't come overnight.
Yep.
It is by design. And if you look into the work of the recently Nobel laureate, particularly you can read their books, right? Why Nations Fail. The most important thing is actually institutional building, right? So we should build institutions. We should not right, depend ourselves to like a cult figure policy, right? So Satria Pinikit or Ratu Adil, whatever, right? So it's not about the leader,
Okay.
it's about institution, okay? And making sure the institution works. Indonesia adopted a European continental model, right? So we have a gazillion laws and regulations. The problem is the rule of law is not there because the enforcement is not there. The laws and regulations are there, but they're not being enforced.
Yeah.
Like the police are turning a blind eye on illegal recycling, open dumping, right? That causes various ripple effects, domino effects, right? That is the cause of the air pollution that you're enjoying every day, actually, right? Like all of these small things that are being sort of like neglected and, look the other way, right?
Yeah.
So I think when we talk about all of these interventions that we're doing, private sector as well as civic movement, right, nonprofit, it's like like sand in the ocean. You know what I'm saying, right? At the core of it, we need to address the enablers for a good society,
Okay.
for a good nation. And I think what the EU can do, along with ASEAN as a region, is to sort of push more for that, so that the current government, current leaders could actually really implement that. Because I think that's the key to prosperity and welfare. And in Bilang, we believe that Indonesia, right, most nations don't care about the environment. It's futile to sell the environment. People don't care.
Yeah.
That's why our logo is Bilang Emas dari Sampah, hence the name, gold panning from waste. Because we know people don't care about the environment. Like, what do they care? If it doesn't happen in their backyard, they wouldn't care less, right? So people need to understand the value proposition of doing things that we want them to do. That is the right thing to do, i.e. it would benefit them. It bothers me every day that we do not have tap water, drinking tap water. Can you believe that? Like, we're an archipelago, we have mountains, and we cannot even drink from the tap water. We can only drink from like a plastic bottle.
Yeah.
It's freaking annoying. You cannot even go outside in the metropolitan like Jakarta and breathe fresh air. The regulation is there. The air quality regulation is already there. It's not just being enforced. Can you imagine that? Now, the thing that happened in Bangkok is when I came to Bangkok, which is our neighbor in this region, I can see that life is much better there, to be completely honest. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? I was staying at the Chinatown area, there's the gentrified area, there isn't a gentrified area, it's clean. I don't see any much waste. What happened, right? Like, even if you compare with our neighbors, Indonesia is lagging behind. And we shouldn't focus on all of these social media effort to portray ourselves. Oh, we're doing great. We're going to be a great nation in 2045. Like, there's going to be a golden age. Like, fix the foundation first, man.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be a house of cards and we're going to come crumbling down. Okay? That's the fact of the matter. And that's the most important thing that I learned in Bangkok. Actually, other people are doing much better in our peers. And second thing is that I do think that ASEAN has a lot of initiative, like a gazillion of them. I don't know if they're talking to each other, but to me, it becomes sort of like, it's like organizations building as opposed to institutions. Like, you have a lot of initiative, like, why can't we just streamline everyone? Like, I know there's for instance, we work closely with the development organization. Like, I cannot mention the name of the country, but even within themselves, they have different sort of departments that are not really talking to each other. There's the ASEAN guy, there's the Indonesian guy, like there's the specific race guy. Like, how come? They're in the same place. Like, what's happening there?
Okay.
Like the best practice of a startup or like private sector is that, you know what, we're optimized on just streamlining things so that we can achieve our objective, right? Efficiently and effectively. Now, I do note that, again, one of the learnings that I saw is like a lot of people are doing interesting stuff ASEAN.
Yeah.
Even on e-waste, right? I met with this guy in Bangkok who's doing something with repair, right? So he's creating this platform where folks can repair stuff, right? Like it's enabling people to just repair stuff together, like at a repair cafe or whatever, right? That's a good idea. I'm not sure Indonesian would do that, but I think we can enable more sort of like different initiative, right? And I also learned that in other countries there are interesting models as well, like for instance, spring bed as a service. You don't need to buy spring bed.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about it, right? A lot of things that we actually buy, we don't actually need to buy. That's one of the things that we're in Bulan trying to champion as well. Like, do we actually need to buy a laptop or a phone? Probably you just need to rent it out because you only use it for a fixed period of time because there's a hidden cost of owning stuff. You need to repair it, and by the end of life, you actually need to dispose it properly. So a lot of the things is also revisiting how we should consume and produce, and also making things that are modular, easily repaired, easily upgradable. That's it. But this is our just first principles, basic logic. Like, yeah.
Okay, so about the forum in Bangkok.
I learned many interesting stuff. Met with many prominent folks. But my observation, A, we have a gazillion organization. Not sure they're talking to each other in ASEAN. B, there are interesting stuff in other countries in ASEAN. We can learn from them, like in Thailand, for instance, right? So there should be an easy way for me to talk to the folks in Bangkok and say, hey, I have this problem. Did you have that problem as well? Like,
Yeah,
can I learn from you? I would like to do that, actually, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? When I was in the States, and I always talk about this, rather than making a gazillion events on hotels and like expensive venues and just creating like a extraordinary video about it, whatever, right? Make an Airtable, simplify matchmaking, supply demand, like, oh, I need this, the other guy need that.
Yep.
It was effective because in the States, I experienced that. This is what I can offer. This is what I need.
Okay.
It's simple. Like low cost
Yeah.
and very quick.
They can use Slack as well.
They can use Slack. They can use gazillion channels. Like I don't think we should spend a lot of money. Like better use the money to do like World Cleanup Day, for instance, right? Like you know what I'm saying? Like because there are damages that are already happening, right?
Yes,
and that
yes.
needs cost. Also, I think that as much as I like to talk here, no one is gonna listen to me on social media. My followers are like what? Like not even 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Like we need folks who have like millions of followers, right, to be engaged, to be involved,
Yeah.
and be at the forefront in championing all of this.
Yeah.
Like I like Samuel's energy from Ways for Change, right? But this is what I told him as well. Like, hey, you know what? We need someone who has a gazillion followers.
Yeah.
Because in Asia, it's a herd mentality. They look at the figure
Yes.
because that's how a feudalistic society has been set up. You look at your leader, like, oh yes,
They idolize them so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's not an egalitarian society, unfortunately. And that's why we're sort of like complacent with the downgrade of democracy that we're seeing. Touching a bit about politics, but I think it's necessary because I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's institutional building. And I personally would like to speak in Indonesia as well because I think a lot of people here has the language barrier. I think one of the reasons Malaysia is excelling ahead of us or like Singapore is because I mean, English is like part of their
Daily, on a daily
communication
basis. Yeah.
modality, right? Like in here it's not. And that hinders a lot of people from opportunities globally and also to absorb a lot of wisdom. Because there's a lot of things that we can learn from outside of Indonesia. And Indonesia is not the best thing in the world. I mean, like, I would like to reiterate that. It's better for us to be sober with the reality and then move on.
Okay. So now let's move on to the Q&A session, everyone. Ada yang ingin bertanya? Aku buka untuk satu pertanyaan saja. I will allow one question for this session. Or maybe you can share your social media if any of the audience would like to ask further about this topic. Kakak-kakak semua?
Do I have on my bag?
Boleh. Oh, ada di belakang ya.
For mine is at World Cleanup Day Indonesia.
World Cleanup
I think I
Day.
have it on my bag.
Oh, there you go. Okay, World Cleanup Day
Oh, that's my
Indonesia, you guys. Oh yeah. Okay, Kak Shiki?
Okay, so I co-found a circular economy startup as well, and it is located in East Java. So you can search Buang di sini. It's very easy. Just type Buang di sini. And if you guys wanted to connect with me via LinkedIn as well, let's talk after this session.
Okay, perfect. Mas Krishna.
We have a small social media base, but we didn't buy any followers, so it's Durang Electronic at Durang Electronic.
Follow right now.
Follow right now. Okay, perfect. Boleh tepuk tangannya semua. Let's get a big round of applause. And then we will end the session with a group photo. You may stand here. After this, get ready for another Kahoot Games, you guys. Boleh disiapin handphonenya. Kita akan ada Kahoot lagi ya setelah ini. Boleh foto bersama terlebih dahulu. 3, 2, 1. One more time. And 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Terima kasih. Terima kasih banyak kakak-kakak. Boleh, you may take your seat. Alright, thank you Kandi, Kak Shiki, and Mas Krishna. Thank you very much. Enjoy the